cancel something because people will be trying to find that other link and they will not be able to find it. So can I get your ideas, please? Is the audio okay at present? Because I'm now going to go and delete that thing. Delete. Is the audio okay? Okay, no, I cannot find that button, and thank you very much for your patience, people. If you go out of the setup screen, unfortunately, well, for me anyway, I can then never find how to get back in and get the video going. I'm in Lancelin, Western Australia, overlooking the beach today where the weather is lovely, the sun's out, there's not much wind, but it's just cold. And I've got these shitty glasses on in order to read what you're saying. I have to look up like that. So you see up my nose. What can I tell you about? I've got lots of blowflies in the house because I left the window open, so I've got the Mortine ready to go. Yes, the Mortine fast, going to kill a few of those. And it's wet and cold in Wollongong, where Spike Milligan spent some time. Now, I'm doing this primarily for, primarily for my American audience, which is huge. And I do thank you for joining me with what's a blowfly? It's a very noisy and large fly. Thank you very much to Formula One Leclerc, who's trumped everybody with a super chat of US $20 note, with $20. So thank you very much. And I will be spending that $20 in your country in what, 4 weeks? 4.5 weeks perhaps, when I head to LA for 3 nights. And then I'm going to Austin, which I can tell you is a right royal rip-off for accommodation. I can't believe what they get away with charging for accommodation in that city. If you're a visitor and you are going to the Austin race, you've got to be very wealthy to be able to afford to stay anywhere decent. Yes, at today's exchange rate, $20 US is about 29 Australian. So thank you very much to Formula One Leclerc. Now, Nick de Vries, what a great result that was for the young fella last week. I was blown away on Saturday when I found out he was doing FP3 and obviously quali in the race. And I caught up with him after the race and I did ask him one question outside the media pen. And I said, what did I say to him? What surprised you? And he said, how sore my arms are. So that's, and I go through quite a lot of the weekend in my video that goes up tonight, which is Nick de Vries, insane, whatever. Where are those bloody flies? I'll get them. I've got about 7 so far. Australians will know the joy of a blowfly. Shocking creatures they are. So I'm now going to your questions here. Okay, so we've got Faith is from LA. I'm okay. Who other Americans have we got on here? Yes, I was on the Unboxed. And Daniel meant to actually fist bump me, but I was too busy getting out of the way. Terry Robertson, you are crazy. US $50. Thank you very much, Terry. That is a very generous super chat. And I tell you, you have my full attention, my absolute full attention for those super chatters. We've got a Chicagoan in. Oh, we got some people from South America too, with El Salvador, Carolina, Southern California, LA. What else? What's below that? Not Tijuana. Actually, San Diego, of course, is Southern California. College Station, Texas. Colt is from Ohio. Have I been to Ohio? No, I've not been to Ohio. Orange County, yes. Well, I can tell you that I stayed with my uncle, who was a minister of the church, and he lived in Anaheim for a number of years when I got out of school. And I remember my time in Southern California. And I went up to Northern California, Eric. I went up to, he lived up somewhere, where was it? In the Redwoods. Yes, I have a 911 Turbo. Orange County, home of Disneyland, yes. Phoenix, Arizona, home of Senator 2 Wins here. And my dog is going crazy out there for some reason. As you can see outside, it's nice and clear and sunny. Central America. Okay, Central America. That's Panama and places like that. Costa Rica, which I know nothing about and I've never been. I keep getting invited to go to places like that, and maybe one day I will. New Jersey, hello, Albert Park Lake in Melbourne. You can probably walk to the F1 race, which will be on next year, and there's great excitement about the calendar. Have you seen the calendar? 24 races. Now, it absolutely drove me crazy that we've got 2 weeks, well, it's 10 days, between Bahrain and Jeddah. I don't mind that there's 2 weeks between Jeddah and Australia. And then we've got China as a standalone race. Now, I didn't think we'd be going to China. And I have no love of China, I promise you. It's a very ordinary area that they have the race in. Crowds are ordinary. It's just a disappointing thing. What is my dog doing? I'm going to close this door so we don't hear him. And at the moment, getting to China is horribly expensive from Perth because no one's flying there. You've got to go all 2 and 3 stoppers to get there. Lancelin is kind of God's country. Yeah, it's very raw, and but lovely scenery and great sand dunes. Let's go to some of your questions now. Heard China COVID rules are harsh. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to be subjected to. In Japan, we all had to get separate visas, visas that F1 arranged for us. It was a little bit tricky. There was paperwork had to provide paperwork and send it all into the embassy, wait a week and got your passports back. But we have got entry in, and my youngest son Jace will be shooting with me in both Japan and Singapore. My family's also coming with me to both of those places, but Japan, we had to jump through all these hoops because my family did not get F1 because they're not working. They had to go through the tourist route and they had to book through a tourist operator and they had to provide a crazy level of paperwork. But they're coming and it will be a great experience. Although, as I've said before, if you go to the Japanese Grand Prix, the accommodation options are pretty ordinary anywhere near the track. Luckily, we've got a media hotel, but it's a smoking hotel. I hate cigarette smoke, it's disgusting. And typically they stink. The rooms are small, but if you only go there to sleep, you might spend an hour awake in the room a day, and there's certainly no incentive to stay at the hotel. It's me get out of there and get to the track. Now, the track, on the other hand, is fantastic, and the supporters are just amazing. The media centre's fantastic, so it is a great race to go to. Let's see who else is here with us from the USA, and if you are in the USA, get onto your mates and get them to come and join this YouTube live stream, and if you want your comment to be seen at the top, get on to Super Chat. Japanese smoking rooms are brutal. Yeah, and I remember I stayed at the High City Sorrento once, and that was a shocker. Then I stayed in Nagoya at a beautiful Marriott. I think it was, I booked the Marriott this time, and I've still got a room there if anybody wants it. I stayed at another Hilton, maybe? Nice hotel, but geez, it was about $50 a day or each way in tolls on the freeway. It took an hour and 20 minutes. And that's a long time, 2 hours, 40 minutes sitting in a car. Thankfully, the media hotel in Suzuka is some 20 minutes from the track. And we get a bus there and back, so you don't need a rental car. Least favourite race on the calendar, Carolina, is China. The Shanghai track, and I think there's only really one decent hotel anywhere near the track. When I talk decent, I'm talking top level, and that's a Hyatt. Then there's a couple of okay ones, and then there's a lot of rubbish, unless you want to go to Shanghai, which you get a whole host of accommodation there. It's beautiful. But the drive there and back is quite long, or you take the train and invest 50 minutes sitting on a train, which is time. I guess I could be doing something more productive, staying at the track later, getting a whole lot more photos. Can F1 season do 25 races? No, I believe the limit is 24, and that's what the teams have all agreed on. What's going on? Who's that? Banging and all sorts going on down there. Hello, Cleveland, Ohio. You love my posts and videos, thank you. Do you ever go on a regular vacation? No, I don't. I don't like them. This is as much a vacation for me, sitting around my house, and I didn't even go out here. It's a lovely house on the beach, and it's got a beautiful view. This is my view. I don't know whether you can see that out there, but there's a beach and an island, and this is what I'm sitting in front of here today, which is, it's a nice place, but it's very boring. I don't see anyone. So at F1, I get this total immersion of people, thousands and thousands of people. And I come back to Lancelin, and there's nobody. Would you stay with a subscriber for free? Never, never. I have to have complete Hello.
Hello, it's T delivering the gas.
God, the gas is being delivered. No, I would never impose on anyone else. There's nothing in that for them, and certainly nothing in it for me, because I tend to want quiet and I have to record videos. So yes, as a resident of Shanghai, I do think the track is too far away from the city. Yeah, but it's very close to Anting, isn't it? And what's the other one? Anting is the area, yeah, and Jiading. What's my comment on the 23 calendar? Mentioned earlier on that I didn't like the fact that Jeddah was a standalone and China was a standalone. Difficult. That's just a selfish thing for me, because I want to come back to Australia when we get a 10-day break. I want to come back to Australia, but it's no point coming back for 10 days and then going over for one race and then coming back. It's a pain in the bum. And thank you for Eugene's support. I appreciate that. It's good to have you on board. I should mention too that I've just been mucking around with the prints for this Nick de Vries F1 debut poster, it's a print. And Nick will be signing 50 of these at the upcoming Singapore GP to commemorate his very first race. You only ever drive your first F1 race once, and to remember it, he's signing 50 of these. I've just had to practice here to make sure what pen I use. I can tell you the last signing I did with Valtteri, I got them printed overseas somewhere, and I said, look, can I just take one early? So I grabbed one, took it home, and I went to sign it with the silver pen that I thought we'd use. And luckily I did, because the silver pen was atrocious. It just did not stick. So I had to race around and get some white paint pens, which I did. But these will be signed in black, and you can get on to kimellman.com now if you want to order yours. There are 30 left, and all in single numbers, single digits have been taken, as has 50 of 50, but there are other numbers that you can select. And these are collectibles. At some point, you'll be able to sell these, and get this, everybody who buys one gets a digital print of the driver signing the print. So if you ever want to go and sell it in 20 years' time, you've got digital proof, irrefutable proof that it's authentic. And I must admit, I've bought a number of Beatles memorabilia pieces over the years, and there's one that I have grave doubts is legitimate, and I paid quite a bit of money for it. However, if there'd been a picture of the four Beatles signing it at a certain spot, and I could marry up the position of their signatures on my print, that would make me very, very happy. But I don't have that. But you will if you buy one of these Nick de Vries prints. There are also 2 Valtteri Bottas's left, and I'm speaking to other drivers. But as yet, I can only tell you that those are the 2 that are available on the kimellman.com website. €200 plus postage. Hi from Maumee, Ohio. A number of Ohio people here. And Chileans, do you prefer day or night races? I like a mix. You wouldn't want to be in Singapore during the day. That'd be like being in KL during the day, or in Malaysia at Sepang. That was horrid. Really hard work, hot and sweaty. Singapore, even at night, is tough work. I got Max to sign my Red Bull Paddock pass, yes. Hello from Mandurah. Mandurah is a little town, or big town actually, about an hour south of Perth, so 2.5 hours from here. How many Australia visits do you get this season? I haven't even worked that out yet. 1, 2, 3, at least 5, maybe more, depends on flights. Do the drivers sign them for you? Well, you'll never know, it's a collaboration. I do deals with them on all sorts of levels, but it has to work for both of us. Maryland, just outside Washington, D.C. I went to Washington, D.C. on a layover once, only 4 or 5 hours, I think, at the airport. Now this year, I think I'll be traveling a lot catter. I got a great flight from Baku to Miami for $3,100 business class. One way, it's a 3-hour flight, a layover, and then 15-hour flight in the Q suites. Now that's exceptional value. You won't get anything like that out of Australia. We're getting absolutely reamed here on flights, being taken advantage of, as a lot of hotels are next year. And I can tell you, I did some pricing of the Canada hotels, crazy money. Probably 8 with taxes, 850 Canadian dollars for a reasonably good hotel. That's not a 5-star, that's a good 4-star. And they want payment now, non-refundable, and they're going to sit on that money for the best part of 10 months. just unfair. I don't know how the average race fan affords it. Which race do you recommend as the first race to attend? Well, I don't know what the criteria for your first race is. Is it Budapest? I always say go to Budapest, it's great value. There you go, that's your first one to attend. Track's not great. Facilities are sometimes a bit ordinary, but as a place to stay, I love it. Are you looking forward to Vegas? I'm not looking forward to the hotel accommodation. I think that's going to be, once again, just an absolute rip-off. It's just disappointing, and I understand why, because a lot of people with money want to go to these events, and they can shell out crazy money for the whole lot, for the F1 Experiences package, for the hotel, and they've got unlimited budgets. Yes, hotels everywhere charge a lot of money when F1's in town, but not quite to the extent that you see at, I've just mentioned Canada. Monaco's always crazy. Would you do a full season outside of Australia again? No, and I wouldn't need to, Kelly. I can come back. 100K USD for Vegas hotel package. Oh, geez, you'd be very comfortable, wouldn't you? Are you going to the World Cup? No, I hate soccer. Most Australians have no interest in soccer. It's a very minor sport here. Yes, well, most of the drivers know me, Jason. Yes, I've been doing it for 5 years, and I see him a couple of times a day for 4 days a race. So yes, that's not a Steinway mark. That is, unfortunately, well, it's a Kauai. Would be nice if it was a Steinway. I don't play it often enough to warrant one of those. Where to see me in Singapore? In the paddock, Albert. I spend all my time in the paddock, except out on track. And really, well, we don't go in the public area. Although there might be one shot. I'll show you this shot here, which I think I will go and get again. And you tell me if you're in that stand. Singapore. This will take me a few seconds. It is a very hot race, Singapore, to do in the middle of the day, and we get there about noon. Lovely when the sun goes down, you drop a few degrees off. But yeah, it's tough and sweaty, and I'm trying to find this picture. Am I going to be able to find? Yes, I am here. Right. This shot here, my friends, is taken from the back of a grandstand. And if we're allowed to go up into the grandstands, and I'm not sure what our rules are this year, that will be a great shot to take, because you get what's that place in the background? The Marina Bay Sands Hotel. Do I think 24 races is a bit excessive? Yeah, the drivers are the only ones that effectively, well, yeah, the drivers are the only ones that have to go to all 24. If you're a mechanic, you could say, I'll sit out 3. If you're a team principal's no problem, you could sit out a race or 2. But if you're a driver, you can't, especially if you're vying for a world championship. I don't follow NFL. I did do the tour of the Dallas Cowboys Stadium once. It was fantastic. Margaret River, my brother-in-law Joel lives in Margaret River, and Sarah with their boys. Last year, to get that view, grandstand will be demolished next year. Is that right? Thank you, Matt, for that. Well, interesting. I wonder why. Are they putting a better one up? It's also very tough to get around that track. For instance, if I want to go out and shoot a shot on the, was it Robinson Road or Anderson Road Bridge? That bridge? Yeah, you've got to go out 45 minutes before the start of the session, and you have to hang around there till about 15 minutes after the session to get back, because you can't walk there easily. Hello, UK. What are we now? Gee, you're up early. Late, 4 a.m. Is it? Yeah, nearly 5 a.m. Thanks for joining me. I've done this primarily as a thing for the US, because I don't do too much at this time for the US audience, and that's where the growth is. The Americans are lapping up the sport. And probably, I can tell you this too, with regards to these signed pictures, whether it be this one here of Nick DeVries, which I'm mucking around with, or which is available at kimmelman.com, or it's, say, Valtteri or Fernando or Pierre, half of them go to America. Half. Or about 12% go to Australia, 12% to the UK, and then about 7% in Europe. So I don't know what's wrong with Europe. Why aren't Europeans buying memorabilia like this with irrefutable proof of authenticity. So thank you very much to my US followers for being such ardent fans and investing in stuff like this, which will go up in time. I can imagine if you had something from Michael Schumacher's first race, signed by Michael and proof of authenticity. That would be very valuable now. Hello, James G. Thank you for your super chat. I appreciate your US dollars. They're so much more valuable than our dollars. Our dollars are 2/3 your dollars. Pokey Monster says hello. Do you think Vegas will be a good track for racing and or photos? Yeah, I think it has to be a good track for photos. I don't know about the racing one bit. But shooting wide and getting the Las Vegas lights at night, it's got to be stunning, doesn't it? It has to be. It's always a game for my mum and I to look out for you in the background of races. Do you scull every time you see me? Scull a drink? You sound like you might be a bit young for that, but that is a game that some people play. 4:55 in the Netherlands, where Nick de Vries and Max Verstappen are from. And if you are from Holland, Holland is an area inside the Netherlands, I found out, and I was briefed by a number of people. But I did go down to Schiphol Airport at the viewing platform on one side of one of the runways and thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a really great community. And I often do that. I've done that in LA a couple of times. In fact, I met an Australian in LA who was watching planes and we got on famously. And then I came back to Perth and I went out to Perth Airport and was watching some planes once. He came up and said hello. He said, remember me? I said, yeah, LA, yeah, go figure. Hope you enjoy Los Angeles. That is where I live. Yeah, I'm staying on the beach in Santa Monica for 3 nights. And I'm looking forward to doing some interesting stuff. You know what I might do? And if somebody had a video editor that was really good and somebody who'd like some extra cash for doing a video, I'm thinking of doing a video about I visit every US fast food store in a day and I try every single meal. I just buy whatever their stock standard #1 meal is and I have one bite of it. And then I go to maybe 20 fast food chains and over a day, I get very sick. No, look, if I only have a bite of something, I imagine I should be fine. But yeah, I am after someone who is a very good video producer, editor. Ideally, a young person that wants some experience is not going to charge me a lot of money. Otherwise, I'll just hack through it myself and it won't be quite as good. So if you're interested, get on to me via email at info@kimellman.com and let's see if we can do some business. Thank you again to my super chatter back here. Can I even get to that? No, I can't press on the button. But thank you again for my $50 US super chatter. And if you want to get your comment up to the top of the list, go to super chat. A couple of your questions now. Eat your way across LA, yeah. I don't even think I'd have to go too far, would I? They're normally in a couple of suburbs, you'd cover everything. I could probably walk from one to the other. Track with the best food is Imola for the media. I don't know what the general public gets served up. I know that in Monza, it was horrendous. Lines for everything and very unhappy patrons. And they've been doing it so many years that they have not got this right. Terry Robinson, thank you, Terry, says Chip, another one of my members. Now, I notice a lot of you aren't members, but those who are VIP members, I can tell you that I'm giving away a signed Kimi Räikkönen print on the 27th of September. All you have, and you might remember another promo I ran just for VIPs was a pair of, I'm pretty sure it was VIPs, a pair of Ray-Ban Sunnies with those goggles in them. And that actually went to someone in Melbourne. But I'll post this poster anywhere for a winner. Just got to be a VIP member. And how do you join as a VIP? Well, you go to subscribe, and next to subscribe, on a laptop. You can't often see it on a phone, I don't know why. You press the join button and you pick the VIP level. Some countries don't allow memberships, and I don't know why. It's not insidious or anything. You're just helping to support content creators. Selling any? No, we're not selling any Kimi prints. I did put it to his manager, but as yet, nothing. I think Kimi would sell well. Max is on for the championship this weekend. Yeah, that's right. So we might be having a special print of Max. Lovely if he signed them and put them up, but we live in hope, hey? when am I flying off to Singapore? Next week. Next week. It's going to be hot. And it's good because I've had stinking cool weather here. James G again with $4.99 US. His question is Nicholas Latifi's girlfriend as amazing in person as she is in your pictures? Well, I'm never going to say anything negative, am I? But she is a lovely girl. And in fact, in Spa, and we get on very well, in Spa, she was staying at the same hotel I was, and she had a couple of lovely friends from the UK and one from the US. And I stayed with them for about an hour, the four of them and me. And then Sandra had to go to bed. And so I stayed on with the other three for quite some hours and had a lovely night at the most glorious hotel, Hotel de la Source. And so I got a lot of time for her, and she's great. She smiles from my lens, and she's very popular on social media. Although I can't see her being back next year because I don't think Nicholas is going to get that drive. Shame, because he's a tremendous fellow to talk to, very polite and calm, but yeah, it just doesn't look good, does it? Not that I'm any expert on who's a good driver and who's not. My talents lie elsewhere. What do these wives and girlfriends do during the races? Well, some of them study. I remember Pierre's girlfriend, Katerina, would sit and study. Same as Charles's girlfriend, Charlotte. She would study. Obviously, they'll watch the sessions, sometimes from the garage, sometimes from the hospitality suite. And they'll catch up with some of the other girlfriends. And you might have seen a picture I had up recently of Carlos's Issa, along with Charlotte and, at that stage, Louisa, Lando's girlfriend, all hanging around together and chatting. So it's a nice social scene, and they're never short of anyone to chat with. So I guess it's just something else to do. Carolina, favourite F1 team and driver. Look, I don't have a favourite. I'll tell you what I like to shoot. I like to shoot AlphaTauri. I think their colours are nice for photography. Ferrari and McLaren. I don't like shooting Aston Martin because it's a dull looking car. And Mercedes I don't love either. A favourite driver? Look, I get on well with Pierre and Lando and enjoy Daniel's smile and happiness. Who else is on my list here? George Russell's great. You don't get a chance really to talk to Max or Lewis. Sergio's pretty laid back in the paddock. Carlos is always good for a laugh. Going through the list here. Seb's a gentleman, absolute gentleman. I'll go back to this comment there in a second. And Terry's been a member for 25 months. Thank you very much, Terry. You're rivaling someone like Milton Brownrigg as a notable member. Alex Albon's a lovely fella. Bottas, always dry, and I get some funny responses from Valtteri. But I think that's it, yeah. No one's offensive, no one's rude, they're all just lovely people. It's just that some you don't get to know. Do you have any inside scoop on what Daniel will be doing? What I read in the media, I think he'll be sitting out next year. I know as much as you, but maybe a little bit more from some other stuff that people say to me. I do think, listen, can you hear my dog? Probably not, hopefully. I do think that Nick will be in F1 in either Williams or AlphaTauri. Maybe Pierre going to team up with Esteban, who I understand they're not great mates. But anyway, let's see what happens there. That's all full of interest, isn't it? Do you ever shoot with film? No. Have no interest or no ability, I think, either. King size waste of money and time. Is Charlotte as nice? Yeah, Charlotte's lovely. She's just a normal girl. She's not a glamorous model. She's not in it for the exposure. She's down to earth. I love her. She's a great kid. Thank you very much. Someone's heading off. It's King Reese. Reese's Pieces. How do I know if the drivers are arriving? Well, Mang, unless they ring you and tell you they're coming in at a certain time, I don't think you can know. The drivers don't advise people or make an announcement, I'm coming. I think you've just got to stay out there and hope. James G says, I'm a talented photographer and an engaging host. Thumbs up. I have no doubt you have amazing equipment. What's your take on the latest iPhone? Oh, I don't know. My wife told me there's a new one out, but I don't know how much better I need it to be. I don't use it a great deal. I use it occasionally. And sometimes at the track, it is quite handy, especially if you've got tight wire and you want to get a wide shot. You've only got long lenses with 70 or 80 millimeter circumferences or diameters. In which case, I'll often get out my iPhone and stick it through the fence because it's got a small camera. Look, at some point I imagine I'll get one, but I'm not sure I need it. Other questions from you guys are up to 234 people, so obviously doing it at this time of the day is not my best time because normally we get 600 or 800 if we do it late evening for Europe, early evening for Europe. A North Carolinian, is that Haas's hometown or is there South Carolina? Was in attendance at Yas Marina. Did you produce a photo book? I did not, but I am doing one for every race this year, and I'll do one, a season end book, which is going to be a cracker. It's going to have Carlos's fire. It's going to have Joe's rollover, Pierre Gasly with his big 5 hand going up. It's going to have some great pictures in there. And that'll be available the day after the last race. And this time suits Bradley. He's having lunch. I imagine he's having lunch in Sydney. And thank you for joining me. Do you play all those instruments behind me? No, I play the piano and I can hack on the drums. And I can probably play a few notes on guitar, but my boys play the guitar and my boys play that, what do you call that thing? Xylophone, marimba. Elizabeth Rodriguez has got my attention. She's from Dallas, which I quite love. I love the Book Depository Tour. I'm the gal who won 2 tickets to the USGP last year, yes. If you book with one of the hotels on the Strip in Vegas, do you still need a ticket to the track? I don't know. And none of those hotels are showing any availability, which suggests to me that they're just blocking them out until they come to an arrangement on pricing and then they're going to put them up. They're going to go in minutes. Somebody said, take a look at the prices from this last weekend. Apparently there was a big fight on, and then add 25%. I'll wait for that book for sure, says Eugene. Thank you for that. Do you think Mick will stay at Haas? No, I don't. I don't know where he's going to go, but I only don't think that because of what I've read and what people say in the paddock. Not that I have any inside information. It's 11 a.m. in the Philippines from Manila or Angeles City, perhaps, or Cebu. Bola Bola and Como Sta and Selamat are the three words or phrases I know in your language, Tagalog. How is Toto Wolff? We get on very well. He's great talent for my Instagram pages. You know what? I think I could do a book on Toto as well. And his wife, she's a step out of way above the rest. She's a lovely lady, and I've had a chat with her. Going back a couple of races ago, they walked in together and I got a reasonable shot of the pair. They weren't looking at me. And then Toto stopped for some selfies and Susie and I had a chat and about something. And then I said afterwards, look, I got a reasonable shot, but it'd be a little lovely if I got a shot of both of you walking towards me smiling. And I got it. They just obliged. So I'm very thankful to them. They're just nice people. But of course, I'm not an enemy of Toto's like, say, someone at Red Bull. And I don't work for him, so I don't know what sort of boss he is, but I've got nothing but positive words to say about him. And Gunther Steiner, I'm thinking, would you buy a print signed by Gunther Steiner? Because it could be a little revenue raiser for Haas. And they can use the money, I'm certain of that. And he is very popular in my audience. And I've got some great pictures of the man. So would you be interested? Arnav says yes. Yes, says Robbie. Of course, it's all yes until you have to get your wallet out. Albert says yes. Well, look, I know his wife very well, and she's lovely, Gertrude, and his daughter, Greta. They all, what's his last name? GS. They've all got initials GS, the whole family. Yeah, okay, I may do something with that, and I thank you for your feedback. It's good to, I guess, float the idea. Does F1 or any other sponsor pay for... F1 doesn't, other sponsors do, yes. Long time no see, says GNR vids. I haven't seen you in person since either Targa West. Isn't Targa on this weekend? Got a pic there with the messages on hold, girls. Yes, I remember that well. But I think Targa West is on this weekend. I'll look for your message in response. Ramiro, is Haas really loved? Because they're a sort of they're the bottom team and they sort of bumble around there. I mean, who wants to follow the bottom team? Perfect stepdad gift, Christmas gift. Gunter's own show, yeah, just full of his swearing. Wouldn't it be funny if I could say, Gunter, could you write "fuck this" or something on the print? That would be gold. That would be gold, wouldn't it? I'm going to put them in a timeout, the wankers. I'm going to get rid of this one. They're deleted. Hey, Kim, just joined. Don't know if you've already watched or answered this, but are you watching the AFL Grand Final? Yeah, my son's having a party at my house in Perth. Not that I'll go back for that, but yeah, I'll probably watch it. I'm just not that interested in footy. What's my take on Ferrari's woes, says James G, who threw in some money from Super Chat. And thank you, James. They just seem to be afflicted with mistakes, don't they? One after the other. Now, I run a business, and I know that when you make mistakes, you've got to look at what caused them, and you solve that problem, and then you don't get it again. Maybe they're just coming up with a new mistake every race. I don't know. It must be frustrating as a fan. Being a Ferrari fan must be a little bit like being a Fremantle Dockers fan here in Western Australia for football. Haas is loved by fans learning of the sport through Drive to Survive. To me, Red Bull or McLaren seems most popular. Yes, McLaren definitely in the Midwest. Do you like watching the race in Singapore? I don't watch it. I do, but I spend all the time through that, watching it through a very small hole with one eye. Would you ever consider working for a team? No. Jason, that would be not up my alley, because I'd get lots of photos of that team and they'd be really great at that team, but I get none of the other 9 teams. So I think I'll keep going with what I'm doing. Favourite food in Singapore? Well, I quite like Mezzanine restaurant at the Grand Hyatt, which is not really local cuisine, but yeah, I don't tend to eat much local cuisine wherever I go, really. Except the Stroop waffles. I did take a bit of a shine to them, and they were left in my room last trip. But no, I don't. I just eat mainly stuff I normally eat at home whenever I'm on the road. I don't try the hawker food Euro typically. You should try roll Prata. Yeah, look, I should probably try everything, but I won't. Because let me give you a rundown. When people say you should go out to dinner and go to this place, the race. Well, each day we'll finish at about 12:30 p.m. No, one day. Yeah, midnight. We'll finish just after midnight. Then we're going to get back to the hotel, so that's another 25 minutes. So that by 1 o'clock, we have to find a restaurant that's open. And typically, it'll be, well, I've got my family there this time, so maybe I can just go straight to a restaurant, but you can't because you've got to wash up and be stinky and everything. So there's really not that much opportunity to go out and try great restaurants. And certainly when people say, oh, you should go to this restaurant, it's only 30 minutes from your hotel. Trust me, we aren't going 30 minutes from anywhere over a race weekend. We eat, well, when I say most of the photographers, I imagine, would eat very close to where they're staying because there is no time. We may have, certainly me, and I wouldn't speak for everyone, I might have 4 hours a day of non-committed time. Maybe it's, and when I say non-committed, I mean where I'm awake. So obviously sleeping and at the track takes up 20 hours. Islak Burger in Istanbul. Thank me later. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get to Istanbul unless there's a race. I do fly through there a couple of times because Turkish sometimes have some very good deals. A shot at the bridge before turn 13. Yeah, turn 13, yes. There's a head-on shot from one side and there's a rear shot from the other. Not great. It'd be ideal if the car was bigger in frame, but yeah, it's worth doing, I think, and I might go and spend a session around there. Had you thought through a business plan for F1 photography? No, I just told F1 what I thought I could do for the sport, and they said yes. Well, I credit you, and it's gone pretty well, I think. Try our hawker food there. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. Which turn would you be in at Singapore? Well, I'll go to a lot of them. Too early to tell. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I walk out of the media centre 15 minutes before the start of the session and have no idea where I'm going. It'll be, is there a media bus out there? Great, okay, well then I can go to turn 13. Oh, there's no bus? We'll go to turn 3. It's a little bit arse about. What's my favourite hotel in Singapore? Where I stayed mostly at the Grand Hyatt in Orchard Road, which I quite like. Not staying there this time. I have stayed, yeah, look, it's mostly the Grand Hyatt, but I haven't been back there for 3 years. Best looking trophy, I don't know. I don't even pay any attention to them. I play some of those instruments, Luis. Now, US people, why is this sport gaining such a foothold in your country? Because I don't think it's having the growth anywhere else, quite like what it's having in your country. And yes, there'll be a bit of Netflix Drive to Survive influence there, but that's a starter. What else are you finding about the sport that's grabbing your attention? Because it is growing at a terrific rate. And Austin's barbecue scene, yeah, I first time tried that barbecue broiled stuff last time I was there, and I quite liked it. Okay, so everyone's saying the drama, the DTS, the drama. Yeah, I guess you don't see the drama if you're just watching a race on television, because they won't go to the little backstories. They won't typically show a lot of the stuff that DTS does. So yes, and also the stuff that I show you on my Instagram page is not typically what you'd see on any other photographer's page. Most of the photographers put up great car pics because they're great car photographers, where my car pics aren't my forte. I kind of like what's going on. I like a driver sitting on the ground sweating after a race, or someone else in happy tears because they've won. That's the sort of stuff that I think gets you in and gets you excited. Sky News stirs drama, do they? Sky News. Did I hear it that Sky in Britain ran the funeral on every one of their channels last week? Sky Sports Radio. Lots of us like motor racing but don't necessarily enjoy the vibe of NASCAR. Yeah, I enjoyed my IndyCar weekend there. I thought that was interesting. NASCAR sucks, does it? Shout out to the F1 Club of the Philippines, headed by William Herrera Roland de Guzman. Well, there you go, you got what you wanted. Auto racing meets the lifestyles of the rich and famous, the F1 Renaissance. Yes, and that's what I see. That's why I started doing Watches of the Paddock, and at the suggestion of Nick de Vries' helper on Sunday, his girlfriend said, tell Kim he should do handbags of the Paddock. And it worked really well. And it's pretty easy to shoot because I stand around and just wait for drivers, and I can just turn around and go bang with a long lens, bang, bang, get down low and shoot shoes of the Paddock. And people love that sort of stuff. But watches, yeah. And you know what? The dumb thing on my part last race was when I saw Sylvester Stallone and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, I did not look at their watches at the time. And I should have, because Sly's watch was an absolute ball terror. It was worth $1 million, I'd say. It was a Paul Newman Daytona, and well, maybe it's not $1 million, maybe it's $500,000, but it was certainly a lot of money. And Zlatan was wearing a Daytona Rolex. Was he? No, he was wearing one with the jewels, I think. And that was, I hear, $1 million. What's a good beginner camera? Just get the best one. I don't know. I've never shot anything but my Canons. I don't know whether this is, you class this one. This is an R5, which is good, but yeah, it's still expensive. And you're better off always spending more money on your lens than you are on the camera. Most people watch F1 in Chile, and the same in Colombia. I get lots of Colombians saying that they are big fans of the sport. And I imagine Checo is probably their #1 man. Thank you to Pat, who has subscribed. Some of you haven't subscribed. You should get on and subscribe and become a VIP member, because you could win a Kimi Räikkönen print And I did notice that when I look at the stats of these liveys, it appears that you're in for 10 minutes. You come in for a 10-minute block and then you go. So what I said 12 minutes ago, a lot of you would have not heard. And one thing I did mention that I should tell you about is if you're a Nick DeVries fan, and I think he's going to have a lot more now, this is a picture that he'll be signing, don't discount all my signatures because I was just practicing for pens, that he'll be signing in Singapore. Already 20 have been sold. There's only 50, each picture numbered by Nick, and you will be able to pick those up at kimillman.com along with a picture of him signing your actual print, which is irrefutable proof of authenticity. Ben Sweetnam has gone and become a VIP member. Ben, you don't have to do anything for that Kimi Räikkönen print. We're just going to go through and get someone in my office to pick a name at random. I might even video how we do that. Good luck in Singapore next week, says Roy. I will take your good luck. And yeah, thank you, Ben. Yeah, I think more of you need to follow Ben's example there and do what I tell you, and that's go and become a VIP member so you can win some good prizes and you get some extras as well. You get discounts on my stuff, you get exclusive videos and other good stuff. Oh, and raw images too. After each race, I put up a number of raw images for those of you who are adept at editing photos. You get the actual image that comes out of my camera that you can go and play with, change the colours, just do anything you want to, as long as it's for private, you can't sell it. And you also get wallpapers once a month for your phone. Am I excited for the Mexican GP? Yes, I love that. In fact, I love the next 4 races. Brazil, not so. And Abu Dhabi I love. So, yeah, I'd rate these 5 out of the next 6 as really enjoyable races to be at. And Brazil's not unenjoyable. It's a long way to go for one race. But I'm committed, not interested. He loves Monaco, I do. And I'm surprised to see them back for next year. I've actually got myself a reasonable apartment in Monaco. Last time I stayed at Menton, and I might have saved, I don't know, $1,500 by staying there, but it's such a long drive, and you need a car, so there you go, there's $120 a day. So that's $500 that you're saving. So yeah, I think it's worthwhile. How is our lovely crayfishing town this morning, Chris? Well, let me give you a little view of the crayfishing town. This is Lancelin. It's a pretty nice day in Lancelin. I agree with Kim. Become a member, says Terry. And Terry is an astute man. So we all need to pay attention to Terry. Been walking around the track around Singapore. Things looking ship-shape. Good-o, good-o. That is a marvellous view. Beautiful view, yes it is. Yeah, it's a great place. On a nice day, or even on a shitty day, it's nice to look out there at the ocean. Hope there are lots of great Seb pictures for his last race. Yes, I'll be photographing. I'll focus on him, and I'll focus on Daniel as well. Excuse me, stand by people, stand by. James G has just paid for my lunch and dinner tonight. Coming from an F1 fan in the US, the British bias from the F1 journalist is a bit annoying, is it? There are some bright spots like Natalie Pinkham and Jolyon Palmer. I love Jolyon, and I like Jack Nicholls. I listened to him on BBC 5, and I love it because I actually know what's going on. Domenicali should mix it up with a German, Italian, and American host. Okay, the humour alone would improve. I have heard this comment that the Brits are quite parochial and it's all about Hamilton. Look, I don't get to see or hear a lot of what you do because there's just not enough time, and it's often the case that I don't even watch what's happened during a race until, say, a Monday night or Tuesday. James is the man. Yeah, James is the man. And thank you for that, James. Yeah, it's interesting that the time doesn't allow us to really get a full sense of what, well, when I say us, I'll talk about me because I'm an expert on me, not anyone else. But yeah, there's just not enough time doing all this, especially when you've got back-to-backs. And the last one, of course, was a triple header. That was hard work, really hard work. And thankfully only with short jumps between races. But when you've got a triple header like we should have had, Russia, Singapore, Japan, it's a bit longer. Bit happening over there in Russia too at the moment, and in Iran. It's all kicking off. Unrest. I remember watching American commentators back in the 04 US GP. It was better, yeah, because the US coverage takes Sky, don't you? I think you do. Do you think there should be more races in South America? No. No. I want more. I'd like to have 24 races in Australia. My gosh, that would be so easy for me. That's a selfish thing, I know. Pick a new colour for Kim's living room light. Yeah, okay, I'll change the colour for you guys. Okay, tell me what colour do you want? And I'll see if I can... First person to put up a colour here for my lighting behind me. Colour, colour, colour. Sydney at least. Green, let's see if I can get green going. Not bad, huh? Not bad. No, I've done green for the moment, thank you. It's always the same with Sky. Will this be Lewis's weekend? I'm like, no, he had 8 years with fastest car. Papaya. Yeah, I could do papaya next. Kim, I'm currently getting ready for school. Where would that be? School. So you're a few hours behind me. Let me guess. That's west of me. Oh, that would be Europe, maybe? Eastern Europe, perhaps? What do you think about last year's Abu Dhabi race? I loved it. It was the most remarkable thing, and I stupidly did not go out and get the celebration shot of the Red Bull guys because I went back and just decided to edit. I'm not making that mistake again. I'm staying out. I'm letting editing come later because what goes through in my mind is all the time I'm taking more photos. That's more editing, and I still got to get pictures up. But yeah, you've got to have the ability to do all those moments, those special moments. Can you play Mr. Kim? No, not at the moment because you wouldn't be able to hear it. And it's embarrassing because I used to learn as a kid and then I got all soft. Didn't do much practice and now I struggle a bit. I believe Singapore should be raced during the day. No. It's nowhere near as good looking and awful to be out there. I don't even know how you as a spectator could stand to be in those stands in the midday. It would be horrendous. Blue sky, you don't get blue. You don't get blue in Singapore. You get normally grey. You don't get much blue sky, not like Australia. Do you think they will change the race ending under caution? No idea. You would read and know more about that than me. Do I enjoy the Canadian GP? I don't enjoy the hotel prices. It's a rip-off. I don't know why it's so bloody expensive. It's like it's a cartel and they're all colluding. Track itself, not bad. Yeah, there's a few shots I like. We don't really watch a race. That's a funny thing. I'm going to hide this user. We just don't get a chance to see a race, so that it's tricky. I'd love to know more of what goes on, and when I do have earphones in and I am listening to BBC's coverage, I get a much better idea, and I'm thankful for that. I'm enjoying my time off, although it's a little bit boring up here because it's so quiet. There's no shops to go to, really. It's not a bad thing. In fact, I have found that doing F1, I don't spend much money at all except on F1 travel and food because you just don't go shopping, you don't need anything. And when I had my whole year away, if I bought a pair of shoes, I had to throw one out. If I bought a t-shirt, I had to throw one out because I had too much to take with me. It was a very disciplined year. Do I meet a lot of Kim Illman fans at the races? Yes. Some races more than others, like Australia, huge. Britain, a lot. Where was I last? What was the last one? Italy, yeah, a lot. In fact, going back 2019, it was Italy that really pricked my ears up because all these people had come up and recognised me. Oh, that's not happened before. So that 2019, Italy was the moment that I realised that people were putting two and two together, and I think that was mainly because of YouTube. I think YouTube has done more to introduce me to people than, say, my Instagram, because they never see me on Instagram, they just see my pictures. Do I follow the race results while photographing? Just through my headphones, if they work, and they only work about 2/3 of the time. And sometimes we have a screen, which is great, but there are a number of races where we're clueless as to what's going on. Suddenly we'll go, where's he gone? He was behind that bloke. Why has he disappeared? Do I have any opinion about the rumours that Sepang might be coming back in the calendar? Well, I wouldn't mind Sepang because it's close to Australia. It's one flight. Have you tried VB's coffee? No. No, and he promised me a hat too, which I'm going to take him up on. I don't buy SIM cards for every country. I use my Telstra phone, and then I use global roaming, and I just pay $10 a day Australian. But for my Global Me unit, which I'm not sure I'm going to need anymore, because I've got a new digital thing where we buy internet for each country over the internet, and we don't have to physically get a SIM, which is a pain in the ass, because that takes up a good 25, sometimes it can take an hour to sort out a SIM card locally. Loving my VB bucket hat. Right, I'm going to hit him up for that because he did promise. And George gave me one. Where's his? Not here. I've got a George bucket hat. Ever been sick on a race day? No. I've had bad hay fever 3 or 4 times, and that's annoying, but that doesn't stop me shooting. I've been pretty lucky. Have I missed a race during the year? This year, no. Last year, no. I haven't. The second year I missed 1, and the third year I missed 3, just because they were too far to go. Keep up the good work. I shall. You have brought back the passion for my own travel. You have brought back the passion for what? I've lost that one. Watching your vlogs. Thank you for that. Watch the one tonight about Nick de Vries. You'll hear a couple of very interesting things that I had no idea about until I spoke to someone close to the team the other day and got some great information that I've put in this video. Thank you to Sathvik, who's become a backer. I appreciate that. Best race I've been to not as a photographer. No, I can't even remember great races I've been to not as a photographer. I went to Singapore once, 7 years ago. Just thought it was just awfully hot to sit in that grandstand. Didn't enjoy it. I did a corporate package for 2 of the nights, which was great because it was air conditioned, and really, I think you've got to be in air conditioning in Singapore. It's just horribly uncomfortable, even at night. And then previously I have gone to a couple of Adelaide Grand Prix, a couple of Melbourne ones. And I did take my boys to the Friday of a Japanese GP going back many years ago. Now, I'm going to have a drink. Now, this is my special cup from, where is it, Jeddah? Miami Grand Prix. Now, anybody who knows anything about these cups knows that the Yeti brand is an absolute winner. This will keep ice in it overnight. And I did see Lewis Hamilton. Actually, I wonder if I can find this picture. See how good my keywording is. I go to Lightroom and I put in Lewis and I put in Yeti and I see what comes up. Yeah, I didn't put it in, did I? Here it is here. I'm going to put in Yeti now. I'll show you this picture. He's got a Yeti cup, and look what he's got written on his. Can you see that? I'll zoom in. Z. This is a Yeti cup with an IWC watch model on it, the big Pilot. So clever marketing on their part, because we just talked about it, and no doubt a lot of other media would have picked up and photographed or videoed that. Which racer have you gotten the best pictures of? Oh, always love Nico, love Lando, Pierre. I think those 3 I get good responses from. Daniel, I get smiles from. Valtteri, I get some interesting looks from. He once walked over me, over the top of me while I was lying down taking his photo once. Yeah, I'm looking to buy a watch. I thought I had one the other day. I thought I had a a Daytona Rose, Ever Rose, but it was given to someone else. Now, Edward McGettigan, you are highly appreciated. He's a member for 3 months as a VIP. So he could be winning this signed Kimi Räikkönen print. And I will be picking a winner on the 27th of September. Any tips for getting photos of drivers? Yeah, be where they are. And how do you know where they are? You don't. Don't tell anyone. The only thing I can tell anyone is be at the paddock entrance. And when? Anywhere between 1 and 7 hours before their session on track. That's race day. Okay, so between 1 and 5 hours before their session on track. Although, yeah, Charles is often early arriver, as is Mick Schumacher. Hard to find Mick because he often goes to the second gate because he's got a motorcycle and his hospitality suite's down the far end, so it's a shorter walk. I will be doing a meet and greet in Mexico City, and I think in Austin, Texas. Where else? Maybe in Japan I'll do one on the other side, in the general admittance area, on the other side of the track, because that's easy to get to and doesn't take too much time. Thank you, Chris, for following me. It's appreciated. Any opinion on the RF 1 to 500? Yeah, I've got it. And I'll tell you why I got it, Box This Lap. I got it because Mercedes photographer, lovely Steve Etherington, said it's fantastic. Now, if the Mercedes photographer reckons it's great, that's good enough for me. I won't be in Dallas either, by the way. I went and bought it, and I am a little bit picky as to when I use it, because I think, look, it's not as good as the 600 in terms of image quality. But on the other hand, it's a couple of lenses in one. But yeah, I am pretty happy with it. I think at night it will struggle, so that's why in Singapore I may have to take out a 300mm and a 600 plus a 135 around the track with me. But yeah, I think it's a great lens. As I said, not for nighttime use because of its f7.1 at 500. That means nothing to anyone who doesn't know anything about cameras. Colton Herder, I like the guy. I interviewed him for my video going back to Indianapolis this year. I really enjoyed his company. Not that I had long with him, maybe 10 minutes. I'd love to see Paddock Award in a car. Don't think it's going to happen this year. But I do have Harold from Toronto in the house. If a driver died at a race, you photograph everything. You absolutely our job is to document. And in 10 years' time, people will want that photo for various reasons. Do you sell it? It just depends on how graphic it is. If it's a wide shot, yeah. Look, it's never happened, so. Was I there when no, it's never happened until it does. You're obviously careful and mindful of it, but we certainly photograph it. It has to be photographed. Every photographer will photograph it. Every TV station will record it. Every TV camera will record it. They may not use it, but they will record it. Because at some point, FIA might say, look, we need images here. We want to see, was this piece of metal up in the air or pointing down? And that's where those photos become invaluable, because you can't go and recreate that sort of stuff. Interesting question. F1 is a very dangerous sport. Yeah, although it's been pretty trouble-free, hasn't it, for a while? Is it going to be your first choice Chinese GP? I'm not sure what that question means. I've been to Vegas, yeah, a number of times, lots. Besides traveling for F1, do you enjoy traveling on your downtime? I've got to have a purpose. I hate just going to some beach and swanning around. I can do that here in summer in front of my house, and I get a very comfortable house to live in. So if I'm going to go somewhere else and do it less comfortable, with more people perhaps, yeah, doesn't appeal. Targa is a dangerous sport, I know. Have you seen my Targa crash? I should be dead. Go and have a look on it. Oh, by the way, quickly, could you all please like this? Just hit the like button, it's up the top there. There you go, like. We'll get to 200 likes and I'll tell you my Targa Tasmanian I should be dead story. Just hit the like button up on your screen. we should be able to get to, yeah, straight away there's 134. Now we'll jump to 150 if you all hit it. Yeah, it's going a bit slow. But anyway, hit that like button there. We're nearly at 150. Thank you for that. Like the video, says Arnav, one of my most ardent followers here on the tube. Another 39 to go. Just hit the like button, please. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Even have my waving queen here. She sat in this room for many years. Hit the like button. We're going to get to 200. Then I'm going to tell you my story about something. Now I just forgot what the hell it was. Do I like China? No, I don't like the race. I don't like the area it's in. It's hard to get to from Australia. Seems bizarre, doesn't it? Another 25 to go, please. 23 now. Hit the like button and we'll continue on. Lancelin. It's Lancelin with an L. 18 more to go. A like, please. A like. You're getting this for free. Come on. 17 more likers and we can soldier on through this. Oh, 13 more now. 10. Just 10 people who haven't done it. Hit the like button. Don't hit it twice because you take off your like. There we go. 7 more people. I am ready for Mexico and looking forward to it. Going to do a meet and greet in Mexico. And a couple more likes. 3 more now. 3 more. When I see the 200, I'll be very excited. Oh, so close. 199. Just one more. One more of you. Thank you very much. Now, what was I saying? What was I saying? Any tips to watch the Singapore GP? No. Funny when I get asked that sort, which is the best grandstand to go to? We don't go in the grandstands. And very rarely will I go to the far reaches of a track. In Bahrain, probably don't get up the back of the track much. Singapore, we don't go too far away. We are very poor people to ask for suggestions. We tend, certainly I spend most of my time in the paddock, just covering people, and then obviously with the 2 sessions a day and then race day, I will go out on track. But that's only an hour each session, or the race is an hour and a half. So I'm really not much good to you. What's the worst weekend experience you've had in terms of nothing going your way? The other day, I took out my big 600mm lens, and if I've got one of these cameras, the 600 goes straight on it. But if I've got, the 600mm lens is an older style, so I need to have an adapter ring. So I took it out and had no adapter ring. So I just carried around this monstrous lens the whole race, and I couldn't use the darn thing. That was disappointing. Look, I can't think of... I would have had a few days where I've just thought, this is shit. What am I wasting my time for? Targa. So I'm in Targa, Tasmania, going back a number of years, and I go on one particular stage called Riana, R-I-A-N-A. Go and have a look at Monster Crash, Kim Illman, Targa, Tasmania. So there's 3 crests, and the third one, there's a sign, you've got to be aware, the third one's a sharp turn left. But I thought it was the second one, so I'm doing 210 kilometres an hour, and I come over this crest, and then I realise, oh hell, this is the left. So I go to put my foot on the brake, and then I think, oh, I'm going way too fast. And thankfully, when you see the video, you'll see that there was no fence, there was just a drop off. So I just go sailing over the road into a paddock, go 300 metres through this paddock. Thankfully, there were no cows in the way. Otherwise, I would have had to pay for a cow, go through a fence and end up stationary. But really, if there had been, and some people say, well, what about if there'd been trees there? Well, if there'd been trees there, I would have seen there and I wouldn't have gone straight ahead, but it was perfectly clean. Yeah, bad mistake and probably should be dead. Do you have an adapter for each of your No, I have an adapter for each camera because I can only put 2 lenses on. Are you friends or competitors with other drivers? All the regulars know each other. We all know each other, and I will get on better with some than others. Often I'll have dinner with some of them. Some guys we have nothing in common with, so it'd be pointless. And I'm very careful about having dinner with guys that speak another language. And when I say guys, because almost all of them are guys, because I always think if there's 3 French guys having dinner and there's me speaking English, they all have to make a concession for me, and I hate that. I'd rather go out with English speakers. But yes, although there's always a bit of rivalry, all want to get a great shot, but it's not like anyone is out there sabotaging anyone else. And oftentimes we'll share photos. Someone will say, "Did you get that pic?" And I go, "Yeah." And they'll say, "Can I have it?" And I say, "Yes." And "Can I have that pic?" So yeah, it works pretty well, especially after you've been there a while. The fear in her voice as you go over, yes, someone's watched it already. How do you deal with jet lag? Don't have a problem. Don't ever stay awake on the flight. No, I tend to, well, for long flights, I will go business. So I'll have ideally a lie flat bed, and I sleep pretty well on a plane. And if I don't, I take a sleeping tablet. I think recently I took one long flight where there was some guys had their kids, and these kids were screaming for a lot of it. It was a bit annoying, so I only got about 3 hours on that, but that was probably my worst one. Other times I don't have a problem. And if I do, I just take a sleeping tablet. In particular, when I arrive at a place, the first night, if it's a long haul, and America's a great example, so there's a 12-hour time difference, that's tough. And if I wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning, I straight away have a sleeping tablet because I can't afford to take a punt on trying to sleep for an hour and then not realising I can sleep. But I normally work it out. Not an issue, thankfully. Rightio, what else we got here apart from those spam? Still losing weight with, no, I need to do, if I did F1 every day of the week, I'd be losing weight, but I need to do a bit more. I put on weight when I come back here. Favourite country to visit? You know, I tell you, it is Holland, Netherlands. I thought on my last trip that if I was to live anywhere else but Australia, I would live there. I love the fact that they're very good with their bikes, that the people are lovely. They all speak English, which is great for me. Beautiful countryside. And I thought that driving to the track reminded me a lot of the very expensive suburbs in Melbourne. And I thought I could live in the Netherlands if I had to. 10 p.m. Vegas race start. Yeah, that'd be fine. That will be fine because and here's something in Singapore, we see the drivers awake out in Singapore at 3 a.m. in the morning because they don't bother to acclimatise to local time. They wake up late and they stay up late. And might even see a few of them, the Amber Lounge after the race in Singapore, although having said that, they do have a back-to-back with Japan, so maybe they won't be out late. Do I like Shanghai? I only went there once. I stayed at the Mandarin Oriental, which was nice, but no, I didn't love it. Didn't mind the bund, that was all right. Did you celebrate your 200k subs? Because I don't remember. Yeah, I can't remember what I did. Okay, my 100th race will be in, what is it? Brazil. Last race of the year is my 100th race. No tips on anywhere to eat in Nagoya. Nothing was memorable, Sean. So what should I do for my 100th race? Last race? No, it's actually in Abu Dhabi. It was going to be Brazil, but then they chopped out Sochi, so it's Abu Dhabi. Tell me what I should do. You can't fly drones at the races, no. Even helicopters can't fly over. Some of the places, they rule that as a restricted zone and only the F1 helicopters can fly. A couple more questions before we call it quits, and I do thank all of those people who threw in some big dollars today. It's much appreciated, including, I'm trying to get this $99 one, US. John, wasn't it? John G. I hope I got that right. Thank you again. And also for the other ones earlier on the broadcast. If there was a female driver, how sexy would she be forced to be a star? Well, who's going to force her? Who's honestly going to force her? The team boss? You're going to be more sexy. What? Yeah, low-cut tops when you're racing. Nah, I don't know. She'd have to be a good driver for a start. Tonya likes F1. She takes a little bit of an interest, but she couldn't stomach going to the track and watching a race, that's for sure. And you never get there. James G, yes. Thank you, James G. And you wouldn't get her at a free practice day. Not unless she was in a box and she had someone to talk to and that was the sideline. That was just something to look at while they weren't talking and enjoying life. Thomas Miller, Denver, Colorado, he says. I've been to Denver, skied at Copper Mountain once. What supercar did I own before my Porsche? I had another Porsche, and then I had another Porsche, and then I had another Porsche. Yeah, I quite like them. But I haven't had one for 12 years, 15 years, I think this one is. I'll tell you, I bought this car in Queensland because the stamp duty was $4,000 cheaper. And I had a house in Queensland, so I could buy it under that address. And I got them to deliver it to the house, and it was in the garage. So I arrive over there very excited. I go to get my new Turbo 911, and I go and put the key in the ignition, and it jams because it wasn't the key for the Porsche. That was the key for the Tarago, the Toyota. And it was a Saturday afternoon, so the Porsche dealership had closed. So that car sat unable to be driven for a day and a half until the dealership opened. And then they said, oh, you just put this thing in here and turn that, which worked, thankfully, but I was a day and a half delayed in being able to drive my 997, which is a beautiful car. Yes, I still am behind messages on hold, Chris. It still runs beautifully without me. Pardon me, what is the most interesting car you've spotted from the paddock? I think Valtteri's 2 cars have been great. The blue Ferrari and the AMG he's got. Yeah, that would be the 2 perhaps. Last 2 questions. Team boss I'd like to sit and have a drink with. It'll be Gunter and Toto. And one other question here. I'll go back up the list a bit. I won't do that one because I'm going to answer. Which US F1 location to go to next year? Next year? Well, it wouldn't be next year, it'd be the year after. But where would I like to see in the US? Where have I been that I've liked? No, I can't even answer that question. I'd like to see one in Perth. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? And I haven't been to Laguna Seca. So with that said, my friends, I'm going to bid you a fond adieu and thank you very much for your super chats and remind you that if you want one of these Nick DeVries signed pictures, get on to kimellman.com and know that before I started the live stream, there were 31 left. And you can pick your own number too, because he numbers them all. And then you'll be sent them anywhere in the almost anywhere in the world. And they will be a collector's item and you'll have a photo as irrefutable proof of hello. Terry Robinson's chimed in with a late $20 to keep me going here. Yeah, I can't do Charles. I have asked and it is too difficult. And I gather because perhaps of contract or Ferrari, I don't know. But yes, I have asked and I got a thank you, but can't do it. But that's not necessarily forever. We live in hope. Anyway, so thank you all and I do appreciate